Most people need to supplement vitamin D unless you could stand outside naked at lunchtime for an hour every day. Vitamin D, you need it for testosterone production. I'm passionate because from the time you put food in your mouth as like, I don't know, a teenager, your liver starts to become fatty. Your liver can regenerate itself.
Welcome to Dealer Out of Office. We're your hosts. I'm Frank Zambo.
I'm Jake Burkle, and we are here to talk to you about dealers' interests outside of the office.
Now watch this drive.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Dealer Out of Office. I am Jacob Burkle alongside my good buddy Frank Zombo. And Happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy to be here again. We got a cool one today. We all know that the start of the new year, the big thing is health. And we quite literally bled for this company. We gave our blood for this company. Allie Donnell is the guest today who is going to read through our blood panels. I went in there, I don't know about you, but I was shocked at how much blood was actually taken out of my arm. It was like 9 or 10 of those like pretty good sized vials. So we are going to dive into this. Allie, thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Now, really quickly, you're in Texas.
Yes.
Explain to us kind of your background, how you got into this, and then we'll kind of take it from there.
Yeah, we'll take it to birth now. I grew up in actually on a ranch in a really, really small town in South Texas. My graduating class had 14 people. So I said the other day, I'm like, I don't think anyone ever from my town became a doctor or really anything all that impressive. And so I think graduating high school, I went to A&M, Texas A&M. Whether you hate us or you love us, but going there, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Most people didn't go to college. You know, it was just kind of, oh, my sister went to college, I'll just do what she did. Thought I wanted to be in sports broadcasting. So worked for the football department, did all that. And then I'm like, I can't just sit around and talk about communication all day. That's just not like, I need something more. So figured, what do I like to do? I like to work out. So I switched my major to physiology with the plan to just get my PhD and do some kind of sports research, work in a lab. I ended up working in a lab at A&M for the athletes. So the non-football players, they'd come in and do treadmill stress tests, VO2 testing, EKGs. We did some stuff with the police and then the fire department in College Station. Anyway, all that kind of led me down a path of I don't want to do research all day and be stuck here and make very, very little money. No shame against that. It's just really hard work. It taught me a lot of interesting things. And then I got to senior year. I talked with my professor who had his PhD and he was my boss at the time in the lab. And I asked him, okay, I don't know what I want to do. Do I want to get my PhD? And he was like, just go to PA school. I would go to PA school. So ended up in PA school. Again, wasn't really sure. I thought I wanted to do orthopedic surgery. I was convinced I'm just going to do surgery. I don't care about medicine. I don't care about anything else. And then I ended up getting into school and realizing, oh man, I need to know everything. I need to know how medications work. I need to know how every body system's related. I can't just look at a bone and say, I'm just going to fix this bone and ignore everything else that's going on. I take it back to growing up in a really small town. I lived 45 minutes from the nearest hospital that was not even a good hospital. And if I really wanted to go to the doctor, it was an hour and a half away. And so, we would play doctor at home. I'd cut my finger with a pocket knife and we'd bandage it, or my dad would be draining whatever abscess and giving me, I'm sure, cow antibiotics. Like who knows what I ended up with. But because of that, I'm like, there's so many people there's just such a disconnect with populations of people and understanding medicine. And so part of me is just like, I just want to do this for myself and for my family and those who don't have access to medicine. Ended up working in hospital medicine, doing internal medicine at Baylor, Scott and White in Dallas. So one of the biggest hospitals in Texas. I worked night shift, so we helped run codes, do rapid responses. There were three of us for 500 patients overnight. Anything that happened with all 500 patients, we were the people that they came to, and it was a lot of work. And because of that, my health took a hit, and so I ended up researching on my off time and functional medicine and looking at holistic and root causes and finding how body systems are related, just to personally help myself. And then I figured, okay, if I'm going to spend all my time researching this, why don't I just make a career out of this? And at that time, functional medicine or that type of medicine was just starting to get popular. I do think COVID and TikTok, honestly, really helped kind of make people realize Western medicine isn't all it's cracked up to be, and that a lot of these studies are flawed. And we've been lied to, and there's misinformation. And I was there for all the COVID waves. There's a lot of COVID naysayers, but by the time they got to us, I mean, they were so sick because it probably was mismanaged early on in the disease. So all of that really just shifted me into functional medicine. I ended up getting I'm doing a fellowship in functional medicine. And so it's where I am today. I helped open a clinic in Houston. And so same, just root cause medicine, looking at gut health, hormone health. We do DEXA testing, resting metabolic rate test, cancer screens, all types of things. So
Well,
that's where I am today. It's a long, a long-winded talk.
so
But just to
needless
say
to
this
say,
is
you are
my passion.
qualified. So needless to say, you're qualified.
Yeah, she's very qualified.
She's
I
very
think
qualified
I'm qualified. I don't
to
know.
read
We'll
over this.
see. You tell
One
me.
question
Yeah.
are you the person that everyone goes to now? Because like I gotta have a doctor in the family, and I cheated. I called her last night. I did kind of go through a little bit of this and asking, hey, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean?
Yeah.
Being from a small town, is that you? Are you like the go-to for
Oh my
everything?
gosh. Yeah, on my lunch break, my mom's like, "Hey, your cousin, second cousin, is something's going on, but they can't afford to see you. Can you just go over their blood work with them or whatever it is?" Yeah, I'm that person. So Lindy was my patient too. So
And the thing I like to is everyone. I was also a health fitness
Are you a physiology?
kinesiology major
Kinesiology.
in
kinesiology. Yeah.
yes in college, and everything was very dated in what cholesterol was, and now I feel like there's more studies coming out, and it's just not by the book of what's been taught for 30 years. And these studies I feel like are not they're relatively new in how long like humans have been around. Like we've only been really studying this for I'm just throwing out like 50, 60 years, whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
like it's relatively new of what we're learning still about the human body. Whereas it seems like you're taking more of a more modern approach. And again, I don't know that much about what we're going to talk about in the next 45 minutes or whatnot.
Yeah.
But it seems like we're taking more of a modern approach instead of just what everyone's been telling you. The food pyramid, meat's
Yeah.
bad, bread is good. Like that maybe needs to be flipped around nowadays. What
Yeah.
we're learning.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to learn more about that. And obviously, you're a very credible source for talking about this, and that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
And I think I will preface and say, you're right. A lot of those studies are dated. And it's like there is some good stuff there that now, the bad stuff just ends up being what's out there more because that's more interesting, right? That's more clickbaity, is pointing out all the bad and all the flawed things. So there's some stuff that existed that was like, okay, this is good, but now we've had all this misinformation and now it's got misconstrued. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, it's still going to be the basics, right? It's the basic things. Are you sleeping? Are you eating whole foods? Are you moving your body? Like there was a point in time where I'm like, everything's killing us. We can't do anything. And then it almost gets you to a point where you're stressed about health. That stress about health is stress in and of itself, and that's not good for you. So it can be like too much on one side and too much on the other. At some point, I was like, screw it all. It's all broken, fix everything. And then I had to take a step back and was like, well, now I'm stressed about breathing
Everything.
oxygen from the
Yeah.
air outside. Yeah.
And
So,
and Allie, for us, me and Jake are middle-aged Americans, average
I'm a little
Americans.
younger than
A
not
lot
not
of
quite
our
middle age. Yeah.
a lot of our listeners are of that. Based on in you're now in Houston, big
Yeah.
city. What
Hmm.
are folks our ages coming in to see you about mostly? Would
Yeah.
you
And
say?
I do feel like I'm at least in the field of medicine. We're cash pay. Prior, I took insurance and did all that, but we're cash pay. So people, most of the time who are coming in, they're either coming in because they're like the both of you, they're proactive and they want to be the best they can be going in, understanding that what they're doing in their 20s and 30s impacts them significantly in their 60s and 70s. So coming in early to try and stay ahead. But then a lot of people are coming in because they've gone other places and they didn't really get the answers they needed. So whether it be, um, gut issues and being told, oh, you have IBS or migraines, I feel like those are big ones. Acid reflux is a big one, but gut health is a big trigger. On obviously for men, I think people are just coming in more because they want to know what their testosterone levels are and what they can do to help them feel their best. Or it's aches and pains that have been keeping them from being able to work out to their full capacity or whatever it may be.
Yeah. In a lot of modern medicine too, when you have a problem, it's all right. I got a drug for
It's a
this.
band-aid. Yeah.
it's a drug for this, a drug for this. And again, I don't know if necessarily that's approach. And then I wonder to myself too, I'm being approached with this drug. Is that person prescribing me the drug? Are they getting some sort of like kickback? Like I'm in sales. Is that sales rep for that pharmaceutical? Is he, taking that guy out to a Red Wings game? Like, why is he giving me that? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, and that's
Yeah.
just 'cause
Yeah.
of what they've always done. You put a Band-Aid on it, but like, I like
Hmm.
the approach of being proactive and getting ahead of it before you have to get to that point, or maybe there is a different strategy than
Well, I think
than
that goes
taking
for
it. But
both of us, right? Like, I don't take that many supplements. I know you asked kind of what we take.
Yeah.
I believe in whole foods. I believe like I
Yeah.
bought a cow, right? Like I know where my protein comes from, vegetables, this, that, and the other. So like supplementation isn't that big for me and my family. Other than like a creatine and a protein powder after work, and I think you're kind of, fish oils. You don't take a ton either.
yeah,
So, both being obviously I was never a NFL football player, but a decent athlete in my own right. And to your point, like, yeah, we want to make sure that, we set the good foundation for our 50s, 60s, 70s, hopefully, into the 80s. What is the average lifespan now? Is it 75?
I want to say, yeah, I think for women, I mean, women, it's higher than men, but I wanted to say it's like 76. I could just be talking out
yeah.
So
my
we're
butt,
coming to
but
house of
yeah,
money
if
at 80.
even that, I wouldn't be surprised if we're not. And it's definitely racial, but I'm pretty sure it's upper 60s, low
And
70s.
but what
Wow.
people aren't looking for anymore is they don't care about your lifespan is one thing, but do you
Yeah,
really
your
want to
health
live
span.
your health span?
Yeah.
And you won't want to live those last 10 years of your life. So that's why this being proactive, the Peter Attia
Yeah.
method
Yeah.
of getting ahead of things so you can live a better life longer, not just live a long
Yeah.
life in a nursing
Yeah.
home, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you brought up too of like supplements. Like I want to clear the air right now. Yes. So I played 9 years in the NFL. Everyone's always, how would you get so big? And so how'd you get so big so fast? Like God and my kids, worst drug ever, creatine. That's
Yeah.
and sometimes I'd blow up on it too. Like I would get off of it, but like it was just protein, discipline, and then obviously you're paid to work out. So it was very like
Yeah.
I come here to work in the morning, like I was paid to just go to the gym for a couple hours. Like
Right.
it
Yeah.
was awesome, right? Like that was every day. So it's very easy if you and then they gave you food, good food, and quality
Yeah.
protein and all that stuff. So you combine those three things, protein, the right vitamins, working out every day and staying active for a job, like it's pretty easy to get big and
Yeah.
lower your body fat.
Sure.
Yeah.
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 And we talked this in the pre-show, right? I think the big trigger was we can get into this as we go through it and how that kind of correlates back. But like, I think a big trigger right now is Ozempic. Everyone wants that quick fix. How do you get healthy? How do you lose weight? When truthfully, I don't think health and fitness comes in a bottle. It doesn't come in a pill. It's a lifestyle of how, and I think what
Yeah.
what you practice your whole career. So I am curious on your take on Ozempic and what's the other one?
Like
Sure,
peptides.
we can get right into
Let's
that
just
if you
dive into
want.
Yeah,
that
let's
one
dive
real
in.
quick because I was
Everyone
into
wants to talk about peptides. So I'll just give you kind of the overarching. When I think about peptides, there's so many out there. There's a great book. I think it's the Peptide Handbook. It's by James Laval,
Oh, he's right there.
Lavalle,
Yeah,
if
right
you
there.
ever want to read it. It's great. It tells you
An
everything you need to
audiobook.
know about every peptide.
I don't read
Is it an
Um,
audiobook?
Can I listen to it?
Yeah.
it's gonna play. You're not gonna no.
We high
Just don't.
testosterone up here in Michigan, but we don't read good.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm from public school Texas. We're not great either. But skip over the science and just like go
Perfect.
to like this is what it's for. This is the dosage.
Yeah.
If you really really want to get into it. But when I think about peptides, there's kind of categories. So GLP-1s, that's its category. That's the Ozempics. That's the branded product. The generic is semaglutide, or there's tirzepatide, or Retta is the new one that everyone's talking about. Retatrutide. That's kind of one category, and then you have kind of repair peptides, which I think those are the ones that's getting all the hype. The Wolverine pack or the Glow pack. That's the BPC TB
Oh,
500. Well, we'll get into those. So it's BPC I love, and then there's kind of that category that's the growth hormone analog. So that's tesamorelin, CJC, ipamorelin, sermorelin. Those are kind of the more popular ones there. There's some immune boosting ones, thymosin alpha, thymosin beta, that's the TV 500. So those are kind of my four categories. If you have a weight, you have repair, you have immune, and then kind of the growth hormone analog one. Uh, GLP-1s, like I hate them and I love them, right? Because there are a lot of people who do it ignorantly, right? And they're just taking it without rhyme or reason, getting it from whatever website. to me, for me to prescribe you a GLP-1, you have to earn the right to take it. You have to have proved to me I have done XYZ with my exercise, with my lifestyle, with my diet, and I'm still struggling with insulin resistance, or I'm still
Mhm.
struggling with really elevated cholesterol or an autoimmune condition. And then at that point, I'm like, cool, you've done the homework. I believe that you have put in the effort that I've needed to see to where now, okay, you've earned yourself a GLP-1. Most men, I mean, in 30s, 40s, you're right. If you are metabolically flexible, meaning you don't have high insulin levels, you don't have a high A1C or prediabetes, you can probably, and your testosterone's great, and you don't need tons of supplementation. You're right. You can probably achieve weight loss. I mean, like you said, through diet, exercise, just being really strict about it. The people who I think do need the GLP-1s who struggle more, definitely more female heavy. PCOS is a big one. Women with insulin resistance, prediabetes, some autoimmune conditions. GLP-1s are being used at a very, very low dose, not at a dose that would produce weight loss, but at a dose that just calms inflammation down. So that is kind of what that quote unquote microdosing, that's kind of the times I use it. But for most men, I'm like, honestly, you're probably fine. You're probably good to just do the work. And then if something pops up where you now have some metabolic condition where, man, we just can't overcome these blood sugars or my insulin, then at that point adding it on, I think is beneficial. But there's hot debate just because people don't know how to use it. And you can tell, like, you can look at a girl and be like, man, you've lost a lot of weight. And then she turns around and I'm like, and where's the butt? Yep, there, your butt went along with it too. Uh, so it's just, I mean, there are a lot of ways to chop and screw the GLP-1s. I'm not against it. I use them all the time, but you can't just expect to get on one and just not eat and not lift weights and not eat your
Right.
protein and think
Well,
that it's going to go well for you.
Question for you. How now? So my schedule kind of go like I usually eat really poorly November, December,
Yeah.
holidays, right? And then January
Yeah.
comes around and I can like lock it in. Usually I'll lock it in for like 4 months until golf season comes around. Then you're drinking a little bit more. Your workouts might not be as regimented,
Hmm.
and then kind of gradually sustain a little bit up until you get back to November and December, and then it's just kind of a binge. That's where I'm at right now. I'm at like the worst I'm
Yeah.
going to be all year.
Yeah.
Now, I don't, again, we've gone over what I've taken. Would it help someone like me that I could maybe jump on a few peptides? Like, my blood work, it's all pretty good. Now, would it help for the next 3 months if I jumped on some of these peptides and just maybe a little bit of an aid? Maybe it's a little easier for me to tone down or get bigger.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I'll say in all I'll say in all honesty, I'm not ever going to prescribe something that I'm like, oh, I haven't taken a shot of, or I haven't tried 2 weeks worth, so I can tell you the side effects, or I can tell you, I'm not ever going to do something without being like, yeah, I tried it, or my mom tried it, or someone I know, I've tried it before. I've told you to take it. Um, and I reserve peptides. I say like, if you're a seventh grade B team patient, you're not going to be on varsity. You're not going to get a varsity peptide. You haven't earned that. So again, someone like you who I look at your blood work and I'm like, yeah, this looks pretty good. You're optimized most for the most part. Then yes, you could really, really benefit from I like IGF-1 is a marker that we'll use that's looking at like kind of a reflection of growth hormone status, and that's what CJC, Samorelin, Tesamorelin, those target growth hormone. Um, those are not good to do long term, but if you want to do it for a cycle, yeah, you would definitely have some gains for sure. Um,
say
Say
no
no
and
more.
it's
more.
easy.
Box
Say
it
no
up.
more. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like,
No,
where's
you,
the bonus creatine? Not anymore. Now, someone like me up in Michigan, am I able to order that through you directly in Texas and Houston, and you can mail that, or how does that
yeah,
work?
there are certain specifics.
Taking
So
a
for us,
photo.
I technically would have to have you would have to have come in person to like check our boxes to say that. But there are a lot of companies, and I'll preface, I'm very suspicious. There's a lot of places you can get peptides online. If you're getting a peptide online and it's coming as a powder and you have to reconstitute it with bacteriostatic water, don't mess with that. Find like a reputable local compounding pharmacy, because the FDA has to, for them to be an FDA approved 503A or 503B pharmacy, compounding pharmacy, the FDA has to go in and be like, okay, this looks good. But they recently went into a compounding pharmacy and there were rats in there. The rats had infiltrated into like where their sterile room was, where they're actually making the peptides.
And
So
what state was that in?
think it was in Texas. So,
Oh,
and we have big
Probably
rats.
Dallas
Everything's
somewhere.
bigger, huge rats. No. Um, so just being mindful of that. That's why I tell people, I'm like, it's probably best to go with, something local that like if there was an issue, someone has been to that. Like I try and physically have seen the compounding pharmacies I use so that I'm not just saying like, oh, it's some warehouse in a room that they're making this stuff. Um,
so when you
all
say
that.
like it might not be beneficial long term, right? Like a quick like what does that time frame look like? Is it a three
Yeah.
month? Is it
Yeah, do I have to be on it the rest of my life, or
like
age,
TRT, right? You
like
take it and
test,
then you're
like then
done.
because maybe we are testosterone's here now. If I start to take it, is that like tell now? Will I have to take it forever? Is it my body going to stop producing it naturally? Is that a
So,
rumor
so
or
if
what?
you, yeah, no, if so, we'll talk about TRT if y'all want to. So, testosterone replacement, there's a million different forms. But if you are giving exogenous, meaning something your body's not producing and introducing it to your body, and then your body's like, man, we got all the testosterone in the world. We don't need to make anymore. And it kind of shuts off the signal from your brain to your testes. We don't need to make it. You can actually check LH or luteinizing hormone is a marker. So I could tell, like, if y'all were on TRT, your T levels, all right, they look great. But if I saw an LH of 0 or really, really low, then I would have known, hey, they're actually on testosterone replacement.
Is that where you asked us
Um,
those questions to see if we were liars? You guys on
well,
anything?
I could tell. My friend didn't even believe me. One of my guy friends is obsessed with this stuff. I mean, a Rogan guy that weighs to well, that's where everyone seems to go. But he's like, no, those guys are definitely on TRT. There's no way. I'm like, their LH was good. They're not.
I
So
can
way
I'm
to
tell
go,
you
I'm
on
y'all.
my
testosterone here at
on
Auto
my two
Hauler.
sons, I've never taken
Well,
any.
obviously she could
Yeah.
see it on our
Yeah,
marker that we didn't.
822
Yeah.
for your boy.
I was
So
750
if you start testosterone, and the question is like, I've definitely started on people who want to have kids, but it does suppress testicular function. So
Sure.
there are some thoughts that you can add on peptides, something like kisspeptin, gonadorelin, clomiphene, and clomiphene, those types of things. There is a thought that it keeps the signals kind of from your brain still going. I honestly haven't had super good luck with that. I'll typically put people on kisspeptin while I'm starting TRT just to hopefully help preserve some testicular function. But most men, after stopping testosterone replacement, their sperm production comes back most of the time within 6 months. So I'm like, if you want to have kids in 6 months,
I'm
stop
done.
now.
I'm done.
To me, it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, I wouldn't mess with it. I'm not a guy though. So
I got a question for you quick.
yeah.
Jake and I have both put out boys. I have 4 boys. He's got 2 boys. That's it. Six.
Well,
And it didn't take me many tries.
I'm pretty two for
Does that have
two.
anything to do with our high natural testosterone?
I don't think so. I think it has a lot to do with like timing of ovulation, but also genetics. I think there's I don't know, maybe you're like, I have so much testosterone to give that
Maybe.
A lot of
Now,
tell
testosterone.
yourself that it's your
Yeah,
good
that's what
T
I'm gonna tell
levels.
yeah, I was
myself.
going to tell my wife. Honey.
Yeah.
Um, in any event, and so we talk about TRT, and I think that's a big hot button for most men in our age range. Now
Yeah.
TRT, right? You said like you're kind of locked in. What is something that you would recommend? Like, what's the most natural way to get that back? Is it diet, exercise? Is it
Yeah.
what would you recommend? Because again, I'm anti like I'm not holistic, but I'm like anti. Let's take
Yeah.
pills.
Yeah, there's a time and a place. Yeah. I mean, again, too, like looking at blood work, it's good doing something like this to say like vitamin D is a pro hormone and it helps make your testosterone. Zinc helps. And we'll get into the labs a little bit more and kind of I'll piece out important things to look for if you do get labs. But yeah, sleep. They did studies on like sleep deprivation. I'm sure y'all seen that where
I'll
I
look it up.
don't even know what country it is, but yeah, they sleep deprive people for like a week and then their testosterone levels drop by like 20%. So
Okay.
that's probably the biggest thing I see is just sleep,
Wow.
vitamin D, nutrition. Fish oils can be helpful. I mean, there are certain supplementations we'll talk about that can be helpful with testosterone. I Enclomiphene or clomiphene seems to be really popular right now because everyone's like, oh, it's a pill you can take to increase your testosterone and it's not going to shut off testicular function. But the only problem with that is it really, really aggressively lowers estrogen in men. And you need estrogen to keep your eyes and your brain healthy and also to keep you from getting visceral or belly fat. So, like, that's why sometimes when you see guys who are like on steroids or TRT and they have like the big hard belly and the big muscles,
Yeah, the
it's because
distended gut and everything.
they've
Yeah.
taken stuff to drive their estrogen down so low that now they're getting more visceral fat. That's the deep fat surrounding your organs that just suffocates your organs and makes them not work. So clomiphene is fine temporarily. Like if you really, really had low testosterone and you were a young guy who wanted to preserve testicular function, cool. I wouldn't do it more than a few months.
Did we have our estrogen tested on this as well?
Yes, you did have estrogen tested.
Where's that at?
That's
They're kind of
a lot of
all
big words
out of
that I just
order.
take as instant disrespect.
It's disrespect.
I don't understand them. I just
Yeah.
taking it that she's making fun of us. I don't see.
Well,
estrogen.
We can go, and say we
Yeah,
can
well,
go
yeah,
through
let's
it.
go
let's
over
dive
them.
into it. Let's go.
Who do
Let's
we go
do
one
it.
at a time, or do you go together and just kind of go through them?
We can kind of go, I mean, however y'all want to do it. I can kind of compare you side by side
Yeah,
and we
let's do
can
them.
make it a competition.
That's all we do
Um,
in this
Well,
office.
Jake's were
okay, I
pretty
figured.
like Jake's were like really really good. I don't know if I want to make it a
But
competition.
y'all both had your stuff. I mean,
Okay.
overall, great, wonderful. I'm not gonna complain, but
I don't want
we'll
to get to
start.
talk about either. Is you had a conference on cholesterol, so maybe once we get to cholesterol, you can talk
We'll
about
get
the
to
conference you're
cholesterol.
just
Yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
that'll be a good one to get into. So I'll say normally when you go to the doctor, so people are going to tell you, hey, I'm going to do a comprehensive panel. If you go to your PCP that takes insurance, you're going to get a CBC, CMP, maybe an A1C, maybe a lipid panel. It's not going to go much deeper than that. So these went a lot deeper,
We
and I
went
can
deep
kind of
on
talk.
this.
Maybe we
Y'all
went
went
deep.
deep. Y'all
Yeah,
went deep.
12 vials on one.
Um, yeah. Yeah, I've done a lot. Your okay, CBC, this is the standard blood panel where we're looking for infection, anemia, size of your red blood cells, looking at all kinds of white blood cells. For the most part, y'all's look good. Jake, you may see your RDWs low. That's your red blood cell distribution width. That just means you have uniform size red blood cells. I would be more worried if that was a high number. So we're good. We're good there. Your platelets were slightly low. A lot of times in certain blood draws, it can make your blood clump. You may have talked to your doctor friend about this.
Yeah.
I'm not super worried about a platelet of 140. It's what helps clot your blood. A lot of times it could be a lab error. If you were someone that you're like, I have liver disease, I have, some immune disease, maybe that could mean something else, but that number in and of itself would probably just recommend repeating it in 3 months. And then if
Like,
it's
dumb
still
question.
low,
If, like,
yeah.
I got consistent, like, nosebleeds and
Yeah, I
stuff,
was
which
gonna
I
ask
never
that.
have. I never really.
Do you have a cut in your finger? Does it take you a long time?
Yeah, yeah,
Does it
that
clot up quick?
No, it doesn't.
so yeah,
Or it does.
you're
It
in
does.
It does clot up.
it
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
Okay.
Like less than 100, I'm like, okay, if something's going on. Less than 50, if you bumped your head, you could bleed out. Less than 20, you're going to spontaneously bleed. So you're not even close to any
That's
of that.
scary, isn't
I
it?
think it's probably just from the blood draw.
Fair
We'll
enough.
keep an eye on it. And then Frank, all good here. I do want to point out one other thing. MCV is a really important marker. That's your mean corpuscular volume, just the size of your red blood cells. When that starts getting close to 100, it usually means one, you're drinking too much alcohol, you have a thyroid issue, or you are really deficient in B vitamins. So that's one thing that can kind of tell us there. But for the most part, CBC in most normal people, pretty good.
Mine was at 89. What was yours at?
Oh, I'm 94.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jake, you're a little closer to 94,
I
but
don't
we'll
drink a
we'll
whole.
talk about it.
Yeah.
It usually more so I see it with like B vitamins.
Yeah, but maybe I need to take more.
Um, your CMP, so that's another really common thing that we check. It looks at kidney function, liver function, electrolytes, both of your blood sugars. So these were fasting blood draws. If you're gonna hear me like blood sugar is a really important thing that I think men neglect. Like women, I think we're a little more conscious of it, but men really, really neglect blood sugar. Ideally, your fasting blood sugar in the morning should be less than 80. So you can see yours are 93 and 91. That doesn't mean you have diabetes. That doesn't mean any major red flag for me. It just means, hey, maybe we could have better blood sugar control. Interesting thing about blood sugar is it's more than just what you are eating, right? Stress increases your blood sugar, good stress or bad stress, right? Exercise increases your blood sugar. Poor sleep is a big one that increases blood sugar.
Mhm.
Um, Something to keep an eye on. We're going to talk more about blood sugar though in a little bit. Creatinine is another one. That's what we look at for kidney function. Y'all are almost creatinine twins. Sometimes guys who are super fit will get really, really high creatinines. That's not a bad thing. It just means you have more muscle mass, and it's kind of one of like little women have low creatinine, big men have high creatinine. I say that with a grain of salt because high creatinine could also mean your kidneys aren't working. So
Higher
something to
range.
trend.
That's got to be good.
Yeah. So this creatinine sounds like creatine, right? It
Yeah.
kind of creatine got a bad rap for it affecting kidneys. If you had kidney disease and your kidneys didn't work and I gave you a bunch of creatine, your kidneys would have a hard time processing it. But if you were an average normal person, 5 grams of creatine a day you're going to be fine.
Why do I feel like I'll take creatine in my weight, just my body weight, and I don't, whatever,
holding
just
on to it, like
it
a
starts
water
to
weight.
go, like I can
It
see
it
it in my
does.
scale.
Yeah.
I jump on it, it's like I gain like 5 pounds pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I never wanted to start creatine because of that reason. And like you're told in high school, like lifting weights, they're like, girls don't take creatine. And I felt like the first day I took it, I woke up and I'm like, my face is so puffy. But it's because you're increasing hydration to the muscle, and that's how muscles grow. So it's
Mm.
not a bad thing. Like if you got on an in-body scale or a Sika scale and looked at your water composition, you would probably just have a little bit more water retention. But again, and I'm an N of one. I do a lot of studies on myself, but I was consistent with creatine for 7 weeks and got on. We have a Sika machine, and I had ended up gaining 4 pounds of muscle and lost 2 pounds of fat. Again, N of one, but that was just me doing creatine for 7 weeks without really changing much else.
Mm.
But it is really just the water retention in the muscle, and that's why, like, I tell people, like, cycle on and off, right? If it's your wedding day, maybe you don't want to be puffy, don't take it.
Right. But
Right.
do it 7 weeks before because you can gain some.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's a
it has
cheap,
to
that's a
be,
cheap
it's cheap
supplement
and it
there.
has to be, I think the studies, it has to be at least like 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks for it to show benefit and being consistent with it every day. It can't just
Mm.
be like I took it once a week for 6 weeks.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so y'all's kidneys look good. I want to skip down. Most people, sodium, potassium's fine. I want to skip to the liver, the AST and ALT. Those are your liver numbers. Um, this is where I'm very passionate about it, especially in men. So I like these in the teens and 20s. One of you was in the 20s, one of you was in the 30s.
Which one's
Um,
this? The ALT?
ALT.
AST, ALT, those are your
Okay.
liver markers.
Okay.
I'm super picky because I like these to be like teens, 20s. I say that because I'm sure you've heard of fatty liver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing in men. Fatty liver is on the rise. It used to be from alcohol. That just really was like the main way you got fatty liver. But now there's something called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and that's just from our lifestyle and our diet.
I have a dealer buddy who has this, who listens to our podcast. I'm not going to say his name. You better listen on to this.
Yeah. It's actually GLP-1's helpful in fatty liver. So like
Yeah.
the Ozempics and the tirzepatide actually really helpful in fatty liver. But I'm passionate because from the time you put food in your mouth as like, I don't know, a teenager, your liver starts to become fatty. Your liver can regenerate itself, right? That's the cool thing about the liver. It's like a starfish. But it can only do that so much. There's only so much insult to injury before it's like, hey, we're scar tissue and our liver doesn't work anymore. So I started looking at that really, really early. And I say that too, like a lot of supplements, and you talked about this, supplements are good, but supplements either have to be processed through your liver or your kidneys. And I've seen a lot of guys who are taking like random supplements and too many of one ingredient that they end up having a liver injury because their liver's so irritated from the supplements they're taking. So being really like aware of your liver numbers. There's something called glutathione, if y'all have heard of that. It's like a master antioxidant, but it's really, really helpful at liver healing. And most people, if they have higher liver numbers, I'll tell them to do like a glutathione IV push for a few weeks. But I'm good with I'm good with the 31 and the 32.
Okay. I thought
Yeah, yeah.
mine's what, 28, 22.
Yeah, so those look good, and that'd be something that if I see them trending up, I'd probably get an ultrasound of the liver just because fatty liver is happening early and earlier in men.
I guess it's good too to get this done. It's a baseline, right? So now you have
It's a
something,
baseline,
and then if it
exactly.
spikes, you know something's probably wrong with you, right?
Same with the creatinine, that kidney marker. So if something ever happens with your kidneys, if that number's trending up, then we know, hey, it's probably the kidneys or
Quick
it's the
sidebar.
liver.
How often do you recommend someone get their labs done?
Yeah, great question.
Yeah, I think most like healthy men every 6 months. If there's
Okay.
something we're trying to acutely target, if there's some issues with, we're monitoring testosterone or you're monitoring cholesterol every 3 months. But for the most part, I think twice a year is pretty good. I mean, think about a lot of stuff can happen in a year, and then you don't get blood work, and then you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, like I'm not gonna get my blood work after the boys' trip up north.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
does
yeah.
that look like?
I always tell people that too. I'm like, be mindful of what you're doing like the week before you get your blood work because
Funny
It
story.
can show up a little bit.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
best buddy, you know him, he had his annual physical the day after our 4-day men's up north golf trip. They basically said he was dying.
Yeah, I bet.
Like,
Yeah.
come back in a week and we'll do this again.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've had that
It was
happen.
running through his system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Back on track. Sorry.
All right, that was your liver. Yeah, if you ever have any questions or that number's up, I mean, definitely push with your doctor to get an ultrasound of the liver. It can tell you fatty liver, and I'd rather know sooner than later for sure. Okay, your lipid panel. So we made it to your lipid panel. All the questions. So I checked a standard lipid panel. That's your total cholesterol, triglycerides, HDL, very low density lipoprotein, and LDL. I also checked an ApoB and an LP little a on y'all. Those are towards the end. Let's see. Yeah, so that's page 4. Um, Jake, you have hit the genetic lottery. Your LP little a is super duper low.
Hmm. Sweet.
Yeah. And then Frank, yours is, I'm good with yours. It could be, if there's something where you're like, man, everyone in my family's had a heart attack, you could push for it to be below 30, but below 50, I'm good with the LP little a.
So that's
Uh,
interesting because both of my grandfathers passed from heart issues.
yeah, so I'll kind of try and make this, and then there's an ApoB. Let's talk about ApoB real quick, and then I'll talk about how these all come together. So y'all's
Almost
ApoB,
I'm learning right now.
Jake, yours was 43. Frank, yours was 92. I
Yeah.
like to see this less than 80,
Okay.
but we'll talk about kind of how it all fits together. So
I
go
did
ahead.
have blood work done like 6 months prior to this one.
Hmm.
The apolipoprotein B was I think like 85.
Okay.
So and it did go. I got, like I said, I'm November, December.
Yeah, the
I'm
last few
eating
months. Yeah.
poorly, drinking every once in a while. The A1 I think was about the same. The apolipoprotein little a.
Hmm. So
Um,
that one is
my cholesterol was a
L.
little lower. It was like 205, and my LDLs were like
Okay.
113. So they've definitely gone up in those December. I had this
Yeah.
test done mid-December, but yeah.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense. So I always give the talk because you're right. There's so much confusion about cholesterol. We talked about this earlier that there's just so much stuff about it to where even as a provider, it's like confusing to me. I'm like, I don't know, y'all. It's just too much. But I always tell people, I'm not the cholesterol police. We all have cholesterol. It's good. It makes our hormones, our brain, 20% of our brain, right? Or 20% of cholesterol is utilized in our brain. Like we need cholesterol, but to what extent, what is your body doing with the cholesterol? That's what I always ask people. So looking at y'all's cholesterol panel, this looks fine. You're right. Your LDL did go up a little bit. If you had, like you said, a really strong family history, a personal history, we'd be super, super aggressive, probably trying to target that LDL more. But what's even more important is looking at that ApoB. So all of your atherogenic cholesterol molecules have an ApoB on it. So ApoB is looking at like a summary of all the bad cholesterol in your body. So ApoB is like really when you're looking for risk factors and markers for cardiovascular disease, ApoB is what we're looking at. LP little a, that's your inherited genetic risk. So there's not much that can change LP little a. There is a drug called Repatha. It's a PCSK9 inhibitor. If you're someone who, yeah, yeah, right. I don't know.
Short
I'm
circuiting over
pretty
here.
sure I said that wrong. But if you're someone whose family, like strong family history, and you're like, man, I've had a heart attack, I've had a stroke, or everyone in my family's had a heart attack and a stroke, and my LP little a is really, really high. That drug is really, really effective at helping lower that ApoB and to an extent LP little a. There are more drugs that are being researched for LP little a, but for the most part, there's not a lot you can do for your LP little a. That's 90% genetic. Your ApoB, we can do a lot with it. But I always say I look at inflammation because think about cholesterol is traveling through your bloodstream. If you have an injury to the blood vessel, whether it be from high blood sugar, inflammation, high blood pressure, you get kind of these shear forces on your blood vessel wall, and that cholesterol will start to stick to the wall. And that's what over time builds up plaque and can cause a heart attack. So think about like a smooth pipe versus a velvety pipe, right? The velvet's going to get lots of stuff stuck in it. So, and they did a lot of studies on people with normal cholesterol and high inflammation and people who had high cholesterol, low inflammation. The people who had normal cholesterol and high inflammation had worse cardiovascular outcomes than people with low inflammation.
What would you say
So,
I have based on mine? Do I have, because I'll tell you this, I didn't bring this up to you, is based on Peter Attia's book, he
mhm,
suggested that you do a CT calcium scan
yes,
on my heart. So I did that.
it
It
was
was 100,
zero.
$150. And my last blood work was better than this one, even a little bit lower. So
Uh-huh.
I had nothing in like the high range, right? Like, I think it was like
Yeah.
203 or whatever was my total
Yeah.
cholesterol. But then I do the CT scan and I'm thinking I've never had any issue pop up. No, 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 no. I look at my deal and it pops up with a 21 in my right coronary artery.
Whoa.
Exactly. So I
Yeah.
went and saw a cardiologist in November. He basically was like, "Hey, I wouldn't worry about any of this. Now you have a baseline. This score is out of 5,000 or 500,
Yeah.
whatever it is, a large number, very minor. You're probably going to hurt yourself more now with the stress of knowing you have something,
Yeah.
whatever." But he suggested a statin. I have it in my cabinet. I have yet to take
Okay.
it, and it's been a
Yeah.
month and a half because I would like to just naturally bring my cholesterol,
Yeah.
whatever it is. But now, do I want to bring my cholesterol? Well, I read different studies of cholesterol. High cholesterol is good. So, what is your
Yeah.
take on? I
Yeah.
have this situation. How would you?
So I'll say I went through a phase where I'm like, okay, I gave tons of statins in the hospital. Then I went through a phase and I was like, statins are the devil. Like I'm done with the statin. And now I'm kind of coming back to like there's a time and a place, right? Like if there's a need, there's a need. But you're right, there's so many other things that affect cholesterol more than that. I do want to say, and I don't want to forget this point. So calcium score is great. It only looks for the hard plaque in your arteries. So most people have a low score. Like my dad did his and he had a score of 2, right? No big deal. But there's something called a clearly scan. It is unfortunately you pay out of pocket for it anywhere from like 800 to 1200 bucks. But what it tells you is hard plaque and soft plaque. So hard plaque is the plaque that builds over time. Soft plaque is the plaque that like in a young person, it breaks off, it ruptures, it travels to a distal artery and blocks your heart and gives you a heart attack. Um, I would do like if your doctor's like, hey, do a calcium score, you're right. It's a great baseline. But if you have the money or just the passion, go and get a clearly scan. Because it'll tell you hard and soft plaque, and it actually gives you like a 3D image of your heart, and it takes your vessels and straightens your vessels out and shows exactly where there's plaque built up. So then that's something even deeper you can do to where it's not just like, oh, I have a low calcium score, peace of mind kind of
What's
thing.
that called again?
Clearly?
Clearly, Cleerly, so clearly spelled with 2 E's.
Okay.
But that was my spiel on that. But for your cholesterol, and you're right, like, is there genetic components? Yes. Could it have been inflammation? I mean, honestly, over exercising, that's inflammation. Is all that kind of contributing to it? The statin thing. So part of that conference I went to is they broke down pretty much every medication you could prescribe for cholesterol and every supplement you could prescribe for cholesterol, or give for cholesterol, and kind of talking about what's beneficial, what's not beneficial. There is a supplement called cardiolipid. It's by Biotics, but it has berberine, red yeast rice, um, I think garlic, but it's almost as effective as a statin, if not more effective. And statins, right? The issue with statins is a lot of people can't tolerate it because you get muscle aches. And then there's the thought that, hey, if we lower our cholesterol too much, we'll lower our testosterone,
Yeah.
right? Because testosterone is made from cholesterol. I mean, really, like, there's not issues unless you're driving your LDL super low, like less than 40, um, truly with the cholesterol. But I'm still not going to say start with a statin. There's so many other places to start. Um, Another thing I want to point out too is I got really sick from mold. I bought a house. I got really sick from mold. My LDL went to 180. My
Wow.
LDL jumped insanely high. And anyone, I'm like, what? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't drink. I don't know how I could be healthier. So toxins is a big thing. Heavy metals, mercury, lead, mold, environmental toxins, that can make your cholesterol go up too. So to me, again, it's root cause is like, why is your cholesterol high? Are you really just eating blocks of cheese? I mean,
Well, that's another thing too, is my diet did swap. I would say my body reacts better to red meats,
yeah,
bacon, sausage, hamburger. I don't eat a lot of bread. I don't eat a lot of sugar. Again, November, December is a free for all.
yeah,
But I notice it. Like as soon as I eat some type of grain or something, I get a stuffy nose.
Yeah.
My body, I'd done like a food
You've
reactive.
done food sensitivity? Yeah.
Yes, food sensitivity test, and everything for me was like red meat. I don't like fish, but like fish was really good for me. Chicken wasn't great for me. But like
Yeah.
beef was like amazing. Venison. So that's what my diet is based, I would say, majority
Yeah.
around red meat.
The and that's happens a lot with, and I've had people who like their LDL drop super low being more like plant forward. Some people that doesn't change it at all. Like, right, everyone's different. But I do say like we miss fiber. We do not have enough fiber. And that's too another reason why like colon cancers are on the rise. Like meat's great and all, but there's something called AGE. And it's pretty much end product. Anyway, it's a big word. We're not gonna. I'm not gonna bog y'all down with it.
Not
But
gonna
it's
solve
just
it.
saying whenever you like burn bacon or whenever you overcook meat and you consume it, they'll check your inflammatory markers before, and inflammation is through the roof after you have like some kind of smoked meat, barbecued meat. I'm not against it, but when you pair it with something like avocado or fiber, those inflammatory markers come down a
So
lot.
that's everything I eat is with an avocado. Like
Yeah.
burger, avocado, eggs,
Yeah.
avocado. Like that's kind of like my healthy fat, and I love it. It tastes good.
Yeah.
I also don't like a bun. Like if I eat a burger, I really don't like the taste of a bun
Just
and
a
a burger.
vessel
Just
at that
Yeah.
point.
it takes away. It's just something to hold. If I could put a lettuce thing on both sides or a fork, perfect. I like that better anyway. Now you said, and I just want to make sure I heard this right.
Yep.
If you overcook it, it throws your inflammation through the roof. So if I
Yeah.
overcook bacon, if
Yeah.
it's too crispy, not as good as when you kind of leave it a little limp.
So
Yeah. And
anyone
same.
making their steaks
Medium,
medium,
But I
rare.
love, but
well,
I just, yeah, but
wrong.
I just want the char on the
I
outside.
like the
That's the, it's
crust
the
on the
char on the
outside.
outside. That's the
That's why.
problem.
That's why you get the
I
flat
like the
top.
crust on
Medium
the
rare.
outside.
Gotta have the crust.
All right.
But,
We're all in
but
agreement.
yeah, yeah, gotta have the crust. But we're gonna add in something anti-inflammatory like berries, olive oil, some nuts, avocado, all of that to kind of help lower the inflammation. But again, I make that point of like, man, we have really meat forward diet. I have a very meat forward diet. I grew up on a ranch, like we love meat, but fiber is a really, really like missing thing in all
What's a
of our
good way to get
diets.
fiber right now? Is it like
So
salad? Is it fruit, vegetables? Like what is it?
honestly, we should probably get 30 grams of fiber through our diet. And like I've tried. I'm not really great at it. I do supplement with fiber powders. I mean, they're not ideal, but
Is
it
it like
gives
the
me like that extra
AG1
six
or
to eight.
something? Like the
AG1 is
green?
not no like a thick, nasty, gelatinous fiber. Or they make soluble fibers. There's lots of different ones like sun powder or something, but fiber is kind of another missing link, and fiber kind of helps bind to your cholesterol, and it can help improve cholesterol actually.
Ooh.
So, and it can bind to toxins. But yeah, that's another kind of thing is if you have really, really high cholesterol and you live a pretty healthy life, maybe start going down like, should I do some heavy metal testing or mold testing and see if that could be contributing?
Could be genetic for me too. My dad's kind
Yeah.
of always had that a little bit. Blood pressure's always been, I've like people I'll get it. Like I'm always been like that higher end, like 125
Hmm.
over 78, like that.
Yeah.
Now, do you think, based on what you're seeing here, do I need to get my cholesterol below 200? Is that a huge thing for me right now? I need to get my total cholesterol below 200
I'm
and my
not so worried about
LDL
that as I
is
am
at
about the
APO.
ApoB.
B
Yeah. ApoB getting that under 80.
under 80 is my new
Because
goal.
that's really the one that we're like looking at to see. Yes, we know the cardiovascular risk. There's something called a Cleveland Heart Panel, or there's some other labs like it that actually look at the particle size of the LDL. Because LDL is just like it's whatever, but you can have large LDL that aren't as problematic, or you can have these little tiny LDL that are sticking to the blood vessel. So if you are someone that's like, I mean, probably in your case, I would go do that Cleveland Heart Panel, and it breaks down cholesterol even more and tells us like, man, do we need to be really worried? That VLDL that's on here, though, that
Yeah.
very low density lipoprotein, that would be the one that would be more worrisome. And that looks pretty good. That looks good.
Yeah, mine's a 10. Okay.
So I wouldn't, what should you go statin route? I probably wouldn't yet. I would probably try that supplement, that cardiolipid, and then maybe some fiber. And then fish oil, 2 grams.
Okay. I'll look at that. I love that this is a podcast that I can look back through. I don't have to take notes. It's funny too, when my cardiologist did prescribe it, he goes, Frank, you don't necessarily need this. He's like, if you're a purist, it seems like you're into fitness. If you really want it lower, here's a statin prescription. It wasn't like, hey, you need to take this. He wasn't really pushing it. It was kind of like he left it up to me. Like, if you really want to get this below 200 or your LDL lower to 100, whatever it was, here you go. But yeah, That's where
Yeah.
we left up.
And again, I'm like, I'm not the cholesterol police. Like, don't be inflamed. Do exercise.
Yeah.
Make sure your heart's healthy. I mean, there's so many other things that tie into it. But Peter Attia will scare you. I think if you listen to him, you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna die. I
But he
can't. It
did.
just stresses me out.
But his whole deal was being preventive, right? And that's
Yeah.
medicine 3.0 for him, is getting ahead of things. If I
Yeah.
didn't read his book, I wouldn't have got a CT scan. I wouldn't know I had a
Yeah.
21 in my right coronary artery, and I wouldn't be thinking about this stuff. But that's
Yeah.
the point of his methods: is don't
Yeah.
wait till I have a heart attack
Yeah.
or a stroke.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like, let's try to get ahead of this stuff, and that's what we're trying to do with all of what we're talking about today.
Literally
Really.
what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We'll keep moving. So we checked your B12 and your folate. I'll say take this with a grain of salt. So I recommend people do a micronutrient test. It's probably about the same amount of blood y'all did. But it looks at all your B vitamins, all your vitamin D. It looks at omega acids, so your omega 3, omega 6. It looks at your amino acids. But the whole point of why that's more important is so like when we just check your blood, this is just what you've consumed in the last, say, 72 hours. When we check the cellular level, your red blood cells live 120 days, white blood cells live like 6 to 8 weeks. So if you check cellular levels of stuff, which that micronutrient test does, it gives you a way better picture of how you're doing. Just me looking here at both your B12, that looks okay. I like it closer to 1,000. And then your folate. This is one I'm really, really passionate about. I needed at least 12. Folate we get from leafy greens, so it's not a surprise that we're
10.9, 8.6.
it's not a surprise that
I do like salads.
that's
Though.
an issue.
I
do
like
eat a lot of
I
salad.
like salad.
But it's like you'd probably have to have like 2 cups of spinach, like nasty leafy greens, Swiss chard, that kind of stuff.
But I do like if I eat salad, like I like spinach. Like that's like my go-to.
Yeah.
I like the more
Yeah.
greenier. I don't like iceberg as much as I like the greenish
The
stuff.
good for you. I don't like salads, but folate's important because there's a marker called homocysteine, and Jake will look at yours is a little on the higher end. So homocysteine is another marker for inflammation. It's what makes your cholesterol more sticky, predisposes you to stroke, etc. If you there's a I mean a big thing right now is MTHFR. If you've heard of that, it's the genetic mutation that makes it essentially it's hard for your body to use B vitamins, especially folate, and put it in a usable form for your body. Um, so I can't say this as like a blanket statement, but for most people, if you're going to do a B vitamin, I would do a methylated B vitamin, which I'm sure you've all heard on every podcast, but the methylated B vitamin, for both of you probably. Most multivitamins, they're great, but they usually don't have enough, right? They have a little bit of everything, but not enough of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Ye- Okay, we're going to move into the testosterone now. So, total testosterone, I mean, it looks pretty good. Honestly, most people that were coming in, y'all, the age that I was seeing in clinic, I mean, I saw it as low as like 250, but like most average is like 500, 600. And even that, it was like, it's pretty good. Um, there is total testosterone. That's like what you have stored away in the bank, right? So that's what you have tucked away. Free testosterone, that number below it, that's what's in your back pocket ready for you to use day to day. So while your total testosterone looks good, your free testosterone, what you have available on a day-to-day basis, is not optimal. Um, and it is affected by something called SHBG, or sex hormone binding globulin, or sex hormone binding protein. Something that's made by your liver, and it'll bind up your testosterone so that it leaves what's circulating to be low. Y'all's is on the higher end. Healthy people typically have higher, and leaner people typically have higher SHBG. It just means, hey, we have to figure out how to compensate for that high SHBG to get more free testosterone available. So, like in women, if women are listening, that's why they say birth control lowers your testosterone, because it increases your SHBG. Birth control does, and then it leaves your free testosterone to be like zero in women. Um, We'll talk supplementation now for testosterone. So fish oil, big one. Magnesium, big one for me. It's kind of my non-negotiable with everyone needs
I
magnesium.
love magnesium. Before you go to bed, the dreams you have
It's the
after taking
best.
magnesium is like unreal. It's like, all right, I'm going on a
Yeah.
quest. Here we go. And you take
going to-
magnesium and go to sleep.
I want to
Yeah.
take the quest.
Magnesium and magnesium threonate is a good one that crosses the blood-brain barrier and can help you with mental focus. So I like glycinate before bed, and then I'll take threonate in the daytime for mental focus. Also helps if you have a family history of dementia. But yeah, magnesium, zinc, vitamin D. We'll look at y'all's vitamin D. But this is where I'm sure y'all have heard of Tonkat Allie, maybe. I feel like that's one that's
Mm.
popular right now. So there's some studies that theoretically it could increase testosterone. Shilajit is one that is really good at lowering SHBG, so it increases free testosterone. But those,
Why? So the SHBG, mine's high,
yeah, yeah,
and my free testosterone is like 15. So because the SHBG is high, that's why my free
free
testosterone
testosterone.
is a
Hmm.
little lower.
Yeah.
We want the free testosterone higher, so it's not so good to have a sex hormone binding glow.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some correlation with a high SHBG being like a sign of health to an extent. In y'all's case, it probably is that you're active and lean. But now we have to say, well, how are we going to overcome a high SHBG? That's the zinc, that's the magnesium, the Shilajit's really good. But those are ones that like, and we'll talk supplements. If you're going to get supplementation, make sure they're third party tested because a lot of supplements have heavy metals. They don't contain the amount of ingredients they have, and then people start taking these supplements, and that's when their liver numbers will get jacked up.
Right.
Um, I'll get more into the testosterone lecture in a little bit. We'll keep rolling through. So all in all, y'all look pretty good, but sleep is gonna be for me like sleep, basic nutrition, not raw dogging a white
How much
monster in the
sleep?
morning.
Because we had our friend
So
Glenn Lundy, he's like 4 hour guy.
Yeah.
But what's your take? 7 hours, 8 hours? Like what's the
So
magic one?
yeah, 7 to 9. There's actually studies showing above 9 hours is actually not good. But it's not so much how long you're sleeping, but it's the quality of
Right.
sleep,
Hmm.
right? So like maybe your friend's sleeping 4 hours, but he's getting 2 hours of REM and 2 hours of deep sleep. I doubt it, but maybe he's really efficient at sleeping to where he doesn't have to sleep as long. And then someone could be there for 8 hours and they could get 30 minutes of REM and 30 minutes of deep sleep.
So
Knowing him, he probably had it tested.
I've been monitoring my sleep now for the last year.
Yeah.
I got this last
Yeah.
year. When I drink alcohol, my sleep score plummets, and I notice that I
Yeah.
sweat. I'm kind of in and out of sleep all night. My deep sleep's bad. If I eat very close to bed, don't
Yeah.
sleep as well. But yeah, I think a lot of what you're doing throughout the day is going to dictate then your quality of sleep, not just the amount of sleep you're
Yeah.
going to get. So kind of your diet
Yeah.
goes
I
hand
have
in hand with that as well, right?
Yeah. And too, because those people are like, well, I don't understand. I sleep every night. But then, and then to men, sleep apnea is a big deal. Sleep apnea is not just snoring. If you're snoring, that's a red flag for sleep apnea because that can affect your heart health. That can make you more prone to risk and stroke and blood clot because it thickens your blood. To try and get more oxygen through your body. So sleep apnea for men, that's like a big thing to look out for. And that's why it's helpful to track sleep to see,
Yeah.
am I having wake ups? Am I having low oxygen at night? So, yep. Okay, your thyroid. So most men thyroid is like pretty good, right? Women, that's kind of where women have more of an issue. Franco was going to ask you, so you said you were doing a 36-hour fast.
So
72.
I got to 48 hours. I ate last night. I was
Okay.
attempting to do, and again, I started thinking of the same thing. Like I got to the end of yesterday, and then I started stress. I wasn't really that hungry. I started getting really cold,
Hmm.
but I was like kind of bored, and I felt like I was working from home. I'm like, and then I started stressing out about food. Then I worked out those last 2 days, so I was like, I need the protein. Like in my head, I'm like, I need the protein to grow. Did I just waste my last two workouts? So I just
Yeah, yeah,
crushed
yeah.
like 6 eggs and an avocado, and that
Yeah,
was what I ate yesterday. So
yeah.
yeah.
So you asked, so like I said, most men thyroid's pretty good, but thyroid is kind of your master hormone. It regulates pretty much every organ in your body has a thyroid receptor. Um, Ideally, free T3, that's your active form of thyroid. I like that to be at least three. So Jake, you're there. Frank, you're almost there. I was gonna say people who fast, you will see a dip in T3 um, if you're coming off a fast within the last few weeks. So T3 is again that active form of thyroid we need to keep our metabolism, to keep our brain. It's really helpful with heart health. So
That makes sense because
I
Jake too is one of those guys. I feel like he's always got like every 2 hours, you got like a healthy meal in front of you.
Well, so I'm always eating, but that brings me to a point. Like, shout out to my good buddy Nick Smith. I know he listens to this. Talking about autophagy, right? So like a 72
yeah,
hour fast. Like, is there actual science behind that? Because come Thursday, like he's holding me accountable, I'm holding him accountable. We're gonna, Thursday at noon is our last meal till Sunday at noon, right? We're
yeah,
gonna try to see what happens. Is there anything? And
yeah,
I'm kind of like you. I'm a guinea pig. I don't know. I don't know whether it's good or bad, but we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
What is your kind of
Personally,
take on
I
that?
try and do a dinner to dinner, a 24-hour fast once a month. Women, again, it's a little trickier because hormones. So I'm not going to say like women don't go out there willy-nilly and fast. That's probably not good.
Hmm.
Men, a lot of the studies, I mean, at least has to be that like 24-hour mark. But again, if you're not sleeping, you're not healthy otherwise. Now we're just adding, hormesis is like
Yeah.
our body's response to stress. Now we've just added stress on. And if you already have stressed adrenals and you're living a crappy life, have fun with your 24-hour, 36-hour fast. It's probably not going to do that much for you. If you're someone that you do have high blood sugar or high cholesterol or insulin resistance, yes, fasts are really, really good. The autophagy, the die-off of the cells, again, a lot of like, most of these studies are rat studies, right? So yeah, there is some evidence for it. It's not going to hurt anything. Would I fast often? No. Could you do this once a month? Yes. Would I do it more than once a month? No, because then your T3, your thyroid will take a hit. It stresses out your adrenals a little bit. Um, but it is helpful for, kind of especially brain health too, with focus and inflammation, lowering inflammation. So I'm
Gotcha.
not against it.
What
It's just
amount of time
being
would you
careful.
suggest? What amount of time would you suggest?
I think a lot of studies say like at least 24 hours. I probably wouldn't go more than 48. Like people who do that week long, I'm like, that's just a miserable week. Like,
Yeah,
have fun.
No.
perfect. I did it right then.
Well, it's like 70.
Yeah.
The one that it's planned is 72.
Yeah.
He's done it once, and I mean he planned it all out, like with how you build
Yeah.
up to it, and then breaking it slowly with bone broth stuff like that, not
Mhm.
just like going out and
Yeah, being mindful of what you're breaking the fast with. Then there's like the fasting mimicking diet, like something like Prolon. Those can be good. Like if you're somebody listening and you're like, man, I have heart disease, I'm pre-diabetic, do that Prolon, that fasting mimicking diet do it for 5 days once a month for 3 months. And they did a lot of studies on like looking at monkeys and looking at rats, and they either gave them a 12.5% caloric restriction plus an increase in energy expenditure from exercise by 12.5%. And the difference of like the way the mouse looks and the monkey looks, like they're night and day different. So there's a lot of thought to caloric restriction too, with, in addition to fasting.
Love it.
Really quick, and I know we're getting
Yeah.
the time from producer from producer Elise here.
Keep
So,
going.
is there anything else like that? I mean, we could probably go another hour with how much stuff we had done. Is there anything very specific that you
Yeah.
want to go over? And then, of course, I want to finish off with like, what is the best practice overall for male, female, the 25 to 50-ish range that we're kind of talking to right now.
Cortisol's got to be a
Yeah.
good one too, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for y'all, I want to point out DHEA. DHEA is made by your adrenal glands. It's a precursor to make your hormones.
Okay.
It's something that declines with age. I would expect y'all's DHEA probably to be closer to 300.
Mm.
Your brain has receptors for DHEA. Replacing DHEA, yeah, could theoretically help with testosterone production. I'll probably take some DHEA if I was y'all. Well,
Probably
I'll give y'all a list
probably
of
explains a
supplements
lot.
when we finish this.
Why?
Our brains aren't
That's,
functioning
that's
that
what's wrong with
easily.
y'all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of
That's another
concussions.
one. Men to look out for. Yeah, your CTE, your cortisol. Cortisol's a big one. So this is just a snapshot in time. Like, is it super high? Is it super low? For the most part, I'm not worried about y'all's. If it was like high 20s or if it was like 5, 6, 7, 8 in the morning, it would trigger me to think, okay, there might be a problem. I like it like teens, 12 to teens, for a morning cortisol. Cortisol should be highest when you wake up, falls off in the afternoon, rises again while you sleep between 3 and 4 a.m. So cortisol's a big one to look at. If you want to know more about your cortisol, there's something called a Dutch test or a hormone zoomer from Vibrant. You pee in a test tube and spit in a cup 4 times a day, just for a day, and it'll check your total cortisol and see, are you producing too much cortisol or are your adrenals tired and you're not producing enough. But you're right, cortisol is a big one. That's why sleep impacts testosterone production so much. um let's see, your vitamin D, you both need more vitamin D.
Yeah.
So
Live in Michigan.
ideally, yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
right.
We
And
haven't been out in the
we just
sun.
we just sit inside all day. So
Yeah.
most people need to supplement vitamin D unless you could stand outside naked at lunchtime for an hour every day, but we can't.
You
You
could.
could,
It would be
maybe.
kind
You
of fun.
could. I vitamin D like
What are you
at least
smiling at?
80.
There, I heard something. I don't know. You can sit
Perennial sunning,
outside if
sun your butt.
your butt and your
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I mean, I don't know that again, if you
It's
could
tough
do
for me to
it,
try that one,
technically, yeah.
but
Do a little study, come back. Yeah,
yeah.
most people, vitamin D, you need it for testosterone production, you need it for energy. Vitamin D is like honestly my favorite. A level at least 60, even better of 80. Most people can safely take vitamin D 5,000 IUs. But you have to take it with food because it's fat soluble. But yeah, you both need vitamin D. Most multivitamins don't have enough.
And then magnesium you
Um,
brought up earlier too. You're a
yeah,
big fan of
magnesium.
magnesium.
And then I wanted to point out CRP. So Jake, your CRP, this is an inflammatory marker, was a little elevated.
Okay.
Um, 1.1, I'm not panicked about. It's like when we start getting above 3, that's when it's kind of sends some red flags off for me. Less than 1's normal. Yours is slightly elevated. It could be if you were sick recently, if you had an injury,
I got
if
two
you had,
petri dish children, so yeah, I'm
He's got two
sure.
yeah,
little
yeah.
babies, all kinds of germs.
Food sensitivity, all that kind of stuff. But that's another one to look at going back to the cholesterol. If you have a high CRP and high cholesterol, that's like that's going to cause some trouble for
Okay,
cardiovascular disease.
got it.
Turmeric is really good anti-inflammatory. You know, curcumin, turmeric, that's a
I
good
love
one.
turmeric. I
Yeah,
take
yeah.
turmeric
Um,
too.
and then if it stays persistently elevated, investigate it. Like, is there food sensitivity? Is what's going on?
Nice.
Magnesium we looked at, insulin we looked at. So insulin is I'll make this as quick as I can. So A1C is what we'd normally check to see if you have diabetes. Your doctor's like, you don't have diabetes, move on, you're fine. Fasting insulin is a better look at to see your long-term risk of diabetes. Is your pancreas having to produce more insulin to keep up with blood sugar? I'm extra picky. I like this less than 6. So Frank, yours is 6.4. I'm not going to panic about it above 10. Again, that's kind of where my panic is. But I recommend most people just once in their life try a continuous glucose monitor. Like the little thing on the back of your arm is the craziest thing you'll ever do because there's a lot of stuff you're like, man, I'm so healthy. This was such a healthy snack. And then
Lindy did
boom,
that for a
jacks up.
period of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
When she
It's
was
the
a
lingo's
baby.
my favorite. But yeah, just because it tells you way more than that A1C tells you. Yeah.
Sure.
And then ferritin, always check ferritin. It's a reflection of iron stores, but a lot of guys with a lot of inflammation or alcohol use, ferritin will start to get really high and iron can start to deposit in your organs. So, y'all's ferritin looks good.
Love that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, this
Okay.
was the most eye-opening.
Yeah, I love this. I needed this
This
in
could
my
be another
life.
hour easily.
Well, Allie, I might be calling you. This could go another hour,
Yeah.
just not on the air
You
because
know,
I'm gonna have a lot
I'll
of
send you a
questions.
little email. But I think like to summarize, if I had to say what most men could safely take, if they're like, dude, I'm not gonna go donate 9 vials of blood, I'm just not gonna do it. Magnesium,
Yep.
like 200 to 500 milligrams at night. I like glycinate for sleep, 3 and 8 if you need mental focus. Malate's good for muscles. A vitamin D with K, 5,000 daily. A fish oil, a good quality fish oil is the key. I like a brand Microbiome Labs, Mega
Drop it in the
Marine.
link below.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Always
two
wanted to say
two
that on the
grams per
podcast.
day. And then what else? A methylated B vitamin. Most people you can take that pretty safely. Most guys, I'm gonna say it, you probably need a fiber powder, even if you're like, well, my bowels are good. Fiber powder. I feel like there's probably some other stuff I'm missing, but those are pretty much like those are like my main non-negotiables that I have that like most people need. I've checked blood work all the time, and those are all needs that people have.
Maybe
So
we could throw a cheat sheet in this right here,
Yeah.
come up on the
And my
podcast.
Amazon
yeah,
cart's about to have some
Yeah,
supplements
yeah,
coming out.
exactly.
yeah. I do have an Amazon storefront, so
Oh,
There we go.
look at that.
And then I also too, I want to talk to you about getting some. I want to try some peptides. I mean, I want to take it to
yeah,
another
You
level.
can be my lab rat, buddy.
I'll try it
yeah.
first. I've never done anything more than creatine, I swear, but I kind of want
You're
to
out of
try.
the league. You can do whatever you want.
I want to try it. I want
So-
to try it. Is it
Why not?
legal for players to do peptides?
There's some that are on a banned list.
Okay.
I don't know exactly. I'm pretty sure. So BPC is my favorite. We even talk about that body protective compound. That one is like if you're dealing with rotator cuff or like bicep tendonitis, it's an injection, a daily injection with like a tiny, tiny needle in the site of injury, like into the fat. It works wonders for people's injuries.
I want just right in
That's
the
my
middle
favorite.
of the bicep. How do I grow
Yeah,
that?
you could grow it.
I want to grow
No,
that. What
for your
peptide's going to just
tendons.
allow that to get bigger?
We'll work on that. I'm
Okay,
working on
cool.
that one. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Allie, thank you for
Thank
ordering this
y'all.
up.
Yeah.
explaining it to two knuckle draggers such as Frank and I. And again, I'm going to have some research to do myself and figure this one out because
Yeah.
good is the enemy of great, and I don't plan on dying any day soon.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will send y'all a little list of all the things that I think y'all should do.
We
I mean, I
appreciate
could
it.
talk about this all day. Y'all know that. So
Love it.
you can't
Seriously,
tell.
like, we're going to call you. Like, that's
Yeah.
just a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Same
much,
here.
Allie.
Thank you
Nice
so
meeting
much.
you.
Thank y'all so much. So good to meet you.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care. Happy New Year.
Thank you for watching the most recent episode of Dealer Out of Office, sponsored by Auto Hauler Exchange.
Auto Hauler Exchange is a B2B marketplace where our customers post their shipping opportunities direct to carriers. The technology and the operations team I have behind me take care of everything else.